All right, traders, to watch this video for Thursday. Do I have that right? Yeah, Thursday, November 16th. Real quick, I want to go over some stuff from the chat today because the watch list last night had TTD on there. Remember, it looked like this. I said a lot of times when something gets somewhere in a hurry, you had 3 big down days, then a gap, and then 3 more red days. When it gets there in a hurry to take out the most recent low on the chart, that's a great place to look for a snapback bounce. So I just thought I'd use this video to start out before I go into the watch list for tomorrow and kind of cover how things like this are called on an intraday basis. So you can see we did get that nice bounce, and I called this long over the whole number 46. If you've heard me talk and make these videos at all, you know I like stacked catalysts. Whole number break 46. What's above? The opening price was 46.06. So you got 46.07 being a red to green. You got a high of day of 46.38 just above that. So that's what I call stacked catalyst, starting with an inflection point of a whole number, red to green, high of day break. And that's exactly what happened. I got long right at 46, and the thing went all the way to 48.25. I actually took that small. I took that much smaller than I would take, some of these low flow plays, the lower price stocks. And I don't know. I think I made 500 and something on that one. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on it, but that was a nice little trade without much risk at all because I took it so small. That was one I called DCIX. Remember, this one was on watch too, and it did a nice thing. It put in a narrow opening range. This was the last 5-minute candle yesterday. So this was the opening 5-minute candle here. Look at this opening range, just very tight. Remember, I said it could be bounce day for this one, and I called it long just through this opening range right at 660, which it hit there. And look, I mean, you had to be quick because look at that, 660, and I like stuff that works right away. I actually got filled at 660, I believe. Let's see, these are 5-minute candles, so 510. Within 15 minutes, it went to 884. Again, I took this one small because it was trading pretty thin, and still had a nice little trade in that one too. LEDS, this was from today. Now this, somehow volume came in after. It had like, I don't know, 10,000 shares all morning. Then volume comes in and rooms start chasing it and buying out of the halt and stuff like that. And I'll always contend that chasing what some people call a high of day momentum scanner or whatever, and chasing halts, buying out of the open, is extremely dangerous. As a matter of fact, trying to find it. I actually I tweeted this today. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to chase the low floaters out of halts, lengthen his learning curve exponentially. That is a terrible trading methodology and extremely dangerous. And if you're a new trader and you're buying stuff as it comes out of a volatility halt, or you're buying stuff because it's lighting up a high of day momentum scanner, you're not going to be trading for long. You might get some big trades, but you won't be trading for long, I promise you. The market will get it back and then some. But then it came back down, chopped around, and I called this long over 5. I think I typed in the chat room something like LEDS over 5 because there was a seller there. Over 5 might work, right? Worst case stop's going to be like 30 cents on something like that. Actually, it was still chopping. So it looked like this when I typed that, okay? And then look what happens. It gets through 5 and goes to frickin' 1050. That is or 1049, sorry. That's insane, but the idea made sense, right? You were in a consolidation after a huge move. It wasn't halting anymore. And then the whole number break, talk about inflection points, with a little flag below for support and a crazy mover that didn't round trip and a tiny float. All those things added up to making sense through 5. And there were no halts, by the way, after this. All this nonsense was out of the way. The 5 break takes you to 1050. Crazy move. And, things started to really die down in the afternoon. So be careful. A lot of people are chasing a lot of things, and that usually doesn't end well. Wait a minute. I didn't mean to go to Craig here. So that was another call that I made in chat. And then last, I'll share this INCR with you, which also was on the daily chart on the bounce play watch list video last night. Remember I said you had this bounce back here, and it had come there in a hurry. Just like TTD, it had come to a low on the chart in a very big hurry. Oftentimes a great recipe for a snapback. And then nice green candle today. What was my idea on this one? Basically an opening range breakout. So here's the morning opening high, 34.30. Again, it hits 34.30 here. I said if this breaks a high of day, that is the bounce play trigger entry, which happened right there, Worst case stop's going to go below this little flag. So about 30, I think it was 30, 40 cents risk. And it ended up just climbing all day long. So from the 34, 35 entry, it went up to 36.50. Just a fantastic day in the chat room. Man, there was some crazy stuff going on out there. Hope you all stay safe tomorrow. But let me go into my watch list for tomorrow. AAOI. You kind of have, after this gap down, you kind of have this little cup and handle. Over today's high, over 45.80. That might be enough to get it through this 46.60 and then maybe just rip. So it's a pretty handsome setup. I like the volume about a week ago. Let's watch that one over today's high. I'm going to actually put in my notes 45.81 on that one. All right, so that's one. Icon, ICON, has been on watch for like a week, and I still like it. I like it up over this kind of little consolidation area, preferably through 2. If this can get up over this area, it might break 2 and then might break this 215 high and maybe squeeze. So not a pretty daily chart, but it might be done going down, which means it's up from here. Who knows how long it's going to consolidate. And keep in mind, could it easily roll over and go to 0? I don't know. So I'm going to trade it on an intraday basis if it sets up. No trades in it today. FENG, kind of like this one. It really tried to break out on big volume yesterday, and then today was an inside day, closing near its highs. I like that one over today's high. I'm going to say over 650. So putting 651 in my notes. CHFS, speaking of crazy stuff today, this thing ran from a low of 368. Are you ready for this? All the way to 24.45 before settling in at 16.50. So, and I'll show you the 5-minute chart here. So this thing popped. Let's just watch it as it unveils. So it goes from like 390 to 425, but it happened quickly, and that is enough to trigger the volatility halt. So it comes out of the halt and opens up here, halts again in the next 5 minutes. Comes out of it, rips again, halts. And then, so it's easy to look at a chart like this and say, man, I should have got in. When you're watching something like this, there's no freaking way I'm taking something like this right out of the halt here. Or right out of the halt here, because it's a complete coin flip. It could easily tank to. Someone could look at this video and say he's an idiot. If I would have just bought it out of the halt here, I'd have had the biggest trade of my life, and I can't dispute that. That could have just as easily opened here and tanked. Buying right out of a halt is not a strategy. I don't care who teaches you that it is. You won't be trading long if you keep doing that. So anyway, long story short, I do want to watch it tomorrow because that is an insane move, and it might give a low risk setup tomorrow. We'll see. QRHC. Huge move, and most of the move was right out of the gate this morning. Look at that. That's the opening 5-minute candle, and then it just pretty much chopped around the rest of the day. So we're going to keep our eyes on that for maybe a red to green tomorrow. Ended up settling in, which often happens, by the way, when you have a crazy move that pierces the 200-day. Oftentimes that stock will end up closing right around the 200-day. I would never put any money on that on any given day, but anyway. So QRHC goes on watch, maybe a red to green tomorrow. ROKU is just simple as it's been so volatile. I want to watch it tomorrow. MARK, very strong again today. Actually broke 5 again before settling in at 482. I'm going to watch that one tomorrow. HMNY. You had this big pop. Then you had a secondary pop. And so far it's trading the last 2 days inside of this secondary pop. So that one can really move at times. Even if you look at it on an intraday basis today, people were talking about, as a matter of fact, I typed in HMNY tight range. I literally typed it in like a minute before when it looked like this, and like in the next minute, it rips. I never caught a trade in it, but look at that volume that came in. So that just shows you there's a lot of traders watching this one, and when you get a consolidation break one way or the other, you usually get a decent move, and you did. And it ended up chopping around the rest of the day, but keep that one on your radar. It's been a pretty good mover. LEDS, speaking of crazy stuff, just the same thing as CHFS, just a crazy move. I already showed you where I called that today. I called it after the craziness subsided, back through 5 right here. Having said all that, goes back on watch for tomorrow. Maybe we get a low risk setup in it. Couple more guys. CREG, just another lower high, goes back on watch for tomorrow. And ZX, huge move, and then a couple days lower on declining volume, goes back on watch for tomorrow. We'll also add some gappers in the pre-market. And man, that's plenty to watch. Have a great night. See everybody tomorrow.